Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing with cloudy and cooler conditions out there this morning with an onshore breeze, and overall expecting cloudy conditions as we move over the next 24 hours. We will see a chance of some light rain or sprinkles around the area, particularly as we get into the afternoon. We'll see that chance continue as we move through the overnight hours and into the start of the day on Thursday, although not expecting anything too significant, mainly rain staying on the lighter side, and we should see our lightning chances at a minimum. Looking at our current surface analysis, we have a stalled boundary just off the southeast coast. We're going to see an area of low pressure develop along that as we move into the later portion of the week. It's going to be a fairly weak area of low pressure and push out to sea to the northeast, and that's going to pull any remaining rain around the area out of the area, and looks like things are trending drier as we move into the weekend. We do have some shower activity off to the southwest that's slowly creeping northward, but a bit drier air mass just north of that, so uh, much of that is starting to weaken as it approaches the local area and should again remain seeing just some light rain chances around the area. Looking at the upper level winds from this morning, sounding onshore flow in the lower levels, becoming more west-southwesterly as we get it into the mid and upper levels, seeing our peak wind today around 25 knots. Freezing level this morning was at 14,200 feet. If we look at our current latest radar picture here, we can see some light reflectivities around the local area. Bulk of the heavier reflectivities or the more moderate precip off to the southwest, and we'll see as some of that is approaching the area. We're seeing most of that weakening, and much of this in the closest vicinity, not seeing that make it to the surface. So again, slightly drier air mass wise up to the local areas as compared to what we're seeing to the southwest. So going to keep any precip on the lighter side as we get into the afternoon time frame. Current visible satellite has us socked into clouds and expecting that to continue as we move through the next 24 hours. Let's take a look at the latest high-res model, what we can expect today. As mentioned, as we get into the afternoon, we'll start to see some of that light reflectivity making it into the local area with some spotty light rain to sprinkles pushing through the area. That continues as we move through the overnight time frame and into the early morning hours of Thursday, so carrying a slight chance of light rain starting in the afternoon into the early morning hours tomorrow. As we move through the day tomorrow, we will continue to see a slight chance of maybe an isolated light shower or sprinkle. Again, this is going to be much more isolated than what we'll see over the next 24 hours. So generally mainly dry with just a slight chance of some light precip around the area. And we'll see things start to dry out as we move into the early morning hours of Friday, setting up for a drier extended forecast here. We'll zoom out and look at the European model. We see some weak low pressure developing off the east coast, and we'll see that tracking off to the northeast here, and that's going to start to pull that precip that's sitting just off to our south away from the area and out of the area, setting up for mainly dry conditions and decreasing cloud cover as we move through the day on Friday. Then going through the extended period, again, as mentioned, things have trended much drier for the forecast through the weekend and into the beginning of next week, outside of a very slight chance of an isolated pop-up shower on Saturday. Things looking mainly dry with high pressure building back in over the local area. And we will start to see a return to more seasonally warm conditions and some increase in humidity as we go into the beginning of next week. And it looks like our next best chance of rain as we look through the extended forecast will be potentially mid to later portion of the week as we start to see a boundary approaching the area and some real increase in that heat humidity by midweek. So looking at our 24-hour weather risk chart for today, we do have that yellow risk starting this afternoon for precip and continuing through the next 24 hours into Thursday morning. Again, mainly light rain to light sprinkles at times, starting off with a chance and then decreasing to a slight chance as we move through the early morning hours. We'll see below average temperatures once again with a high around 79 degrees. We'll see east-northeasterly winds 8 to 13 knots, gusting up to 18 knots, and staying slightly breezy as we move through the next 24 hours. And we'll see our low temperature rate around 70 degrees. Ceilings today hovering around 10,000 feet, and could see those drop down to 2,000 feet at times with potential for any light rain activity pushing through, and then slightly lower as we go into the early morning hours of Thursday. Tides are running slightly above normal. We continue with that slight chance of an isolated light rain shower or sprinkle through the day on Thursday, looking at about a 20% chance. And again, it's going to be a bit more isolated than what we'll see today. So generally mostly dry. We'll see some slightly breezier conditions with a chance of seeing a wind advisory for our Thursday. Similar temperature-wise with a high around 79, and we'll keep those temperatures in the upper 70s as we move through the remainder of the week, mostly to partly cloudy on Friday, drier with those clouds decreasing. Then we'll be back into the low 80s for Saturday and Sunday with generally partly cloudy conditions and possibly some mostly cloudy conditions during the afternoon. And then partly cloudy as we push through the extended forecast here with those temperatures getting back up into the mid-80s as we move into the start of next week. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.